How does this guy and his business partner rake in $100,000 a month detailing cars while working their full-time jobs?
Yeah, I was working my full-time corporate job until we actually hit our first $100,000 a month.
No way. They started their journey washing cars until one decision changed everything.
85% of total business is coming from the car detailing side of things.
Watch as they reveal the secrets to scaling your business as fast as they did. Discover the powerful question that can bring you non-stop 5-star reviews.
Incentivize your technicians to get them for you.
And learn to avoid the biggest mistake most entrepreneurs make.
It's very frustrating when you do not have that figured out because, again, it's very easy to spend a lot of money, hire people with their own equipment. You won't have to spend that time having to train somebody, how to clean a car.
Chad, it's good to meet you. I know you and your partner Alex started this company. So before we get into your story, give us a quick idea on the type of business you guys are in.
So Schwash is a mobile car detailing company. We also offer paint protection, ceramic coating services,
Nice.
but our bread and butter is going to be the mobile detailing side of things, 110%.
How did you and Alex end up getting into the detailing entrepreneurship world together?
It's a funny story how we met. It was actually through our corporate job. I moved into the same apartment complex as him, and that was pretty ironic. It wasn't intentional to be that way, but once I knew him from work, we started just hanging out more and more. We just kind of started talking, right, about what do we want long term for ourselves, right? Do we want to just still keep continuing to work for corporate America? In sales you can make a lot of money, but I think both of us aligned on the goal of we want to own something and cultivate our own culture. We're a place where people are excited to come to work, and that we can really design and mold this to be exactly what we envisioned it to be, which is essentially to be an empire down the road, right? Across the nation. So that's how we essentially got started. And
why detailing out of all the businesses you could have started in Austin?
First and foremost, we have a passion for cars. Him and I were always detailing our vehicles, ourselves. We like to take care of our vehicles. But second, we continuously would drive by, various locations that were brick and mortar car washes, and we just noticed that the lines would always just be around the corner, up the street. You saw people that were waiting 45 minutes to an hour. And again, Austin is a thriving tech hub, and a lot of them just do not have the time to sit somewhere and then wait another hour for it to be, serviced. So, basically we just found that there was an opportunity and a gap in the market where we could fill in and bring that convenience factor to that person. So that's been a great value proposition for us.
Tell us a little bit about this job. What's a typical cost, ticket price, invoice, etc.?
Yeah, sure. So what we've got currently going on right here is going to be our gold full detail. That's going to come with obviously a very thorough cleaning of the inside interior of the vehicle, as well as an all hand wash on the outside.
We'll dive into the services and how to pick services and how to price services later on, so stay tuned. From what I understand, you guys did not start with detailing in mind. It was all about exterior car washes, right?
Yeah.
But then you pivoted to detailing. So I want to give an understanding to our audience what that pivot did to the business. So give us an overview of maybe month-to-month revenue and anything else you want to highlight.
Yeah, so for the first couple of months, whenever we were solely just offering car washes, I would say monthly revenue was sitting anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 per month. That was a lot of car washes because obviously the entry price point to those car washes were a lot cheaper than what we now sell a detail for.
Right.
So it was a lot of car washes to get to that number. We were consistently kind of plateauing around $15K at the top per month, and then once we realized that we had just too many people at this time purchasing car washes, actually wanting detail quality work.
Kind of the two belong together.
Yeah, we just realized look, we need to go 110% into car detailing because everybody who purchases a detail knows that it's going to be, dang near to perfection. It's hard to distinguish that between a car wash and a car detail. So as soon as we made that change, we started seeing, the following month it was 25 to 30K. Then it was getting all the way up to 50, within the next 2 months after that. And we got to 75K, and then we hit our first 100K month. And we're staying pretty consistent around that until we start to hire more people, start to really build and expand out the Dallas market. But yeah, once we made those changes, it was a rocket.
Hockey stick up.
Yeah.
I'm curious about you guys. What do you think? Do you think that in order to build a successful business, is it possible to do that while you have a 9-to-5 job? Or do you think quitting and focusing solely on the business is the only way to go? Share your experiences and thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. All right, so you guys are making around $100,000 a month without even being a full year into detailing business, which is incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to find out a little bit more about the services you offer, the percentage of those services as far as total revenue, which ones have higher profit margins, lower profit margins. Share with us anything you can.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of our suite of services, it's going to be all car detailing, packages, as well as paint correction and ceramic coating services. So if I had to break that down, we'd be looking at about 85% of total business is coming from the car detailing side of things.
Gotcha.
That's going to be the bread and butter, and that's how we always want it to be. We want to obviously, scale up the number of ceramic coatings and paint correction jobs. But right now, it's sitting around 15% as the remainder of business that's coming in collectively. That's going to be that side of the house.
And the more profitable business would probably be, my guess, the detailing, right?
Yeah. For sure.
Well, let's get away from this heat. Let's go hit the parking garage.
So we're detailing a Range Rover Sport over off Rainey Street, which is in downtown Austin. Let's go ahead and head that way.
Let's get out of here, man. All right, so we just came from the house location over to basically another location, which is a parking garage. And what I find unique about this, Chad, is there's no power, there's no water connection. So how in the world are you cleaning cars in a parking garage?
Yeah, the way that really makes us stick out here at Schwash is that we don't actually require a power or water hookup in order to service the vehicle. How do we do that? All of our technicians have their own water tanks alongside the power side of things. They all bring their own generator.
How many cars can you wash, though?
Typically, on average, if they're going to be full details, typically we can get through about 3 of them per day.
So, I mean, it's not like you have to go back and forth and refill.
No, we're eliminating the back and forth of having to go get more water in between our jobs. We have to go get more supplies. Let's keep everything on you so that we're always ready to go.
All right, so I'm dying to ask you this question. I know our audience is as well, and that is, how are you managing to scale this business while you're doing a full, 9 to 5 somewhere else?
I think the first thing that's good to know is it's really great to have a partner to be able to take on and delegate tasks that perhaps you cannot come and do yourself because you're stuck on a demo or you're in a one-on-one with your boss, you're in a meeting. So I think another big thing is delegation. Don't think that you have to do everything yourself. I have strengths, I have weaknesses, but so does Alex. He has strengths that are complementing my weaknesses. So we're able to really tag team a lot of different issues, conflicts, different things that just happen within a day-to-day of a business by just having that partner to lean on.
What would be the bare minimum that someone would need to get started in this business? As far as money, maybe tools, what's your advice to them?
I think anyone can get started for around $4 to $5 grand. There's a few things that you want to keep in mind, within that total cost. One's going to be advertising spend. 95% of all of our business that we get is coming directly from Google. You don't have to have a huge advertising budget in the beginning, but as you scale, you will want to start to increment that amount up and higher, right? We're obviously going to want some general supplies like car wash solutions. Again, they provide their own equipment, but we purchase all the supplies. All you're going to really need to start off is all-purpose cleaner, leather conditioner, different types of soaps, extractor solutions, microfiber towels to decontaminate the car. So, if you do it my way and you hire people with all of their own equipment already, you're taking a lot of expense off of your plate. You're all set and ready to go.
So what's your advice to those looking to get into this business with what you've learned in your experience?
I think one of the main things that I learned is that in order to start a business like this, I went into the game thinking that I needed to have this beautiful, robust, iOS mobile app. I needed to spend $20,000 to $30,000 to, build this, and you don't need that in order to get started. As long as you have a landing page, an area for some potential customer to just be able to submit their information, it's immensely cheaper than going down the mobile development route. And a lot of people think that that's what's going to, earn them the business, and that's not what it's about. It's about the quality of the work. It's about the people that you hire. That's really where you can succeed in this, is hiring vetted people, because at the end of the day, the mobile app's going to be irrelevant. They're going to remember the quality of the service.
And the point is that's coming across to me is it's not going to look pretty from the get-go, right?
No.
There's going to be mistakes made. You're not going to have the best website. Best this and that. Just get started.
Running a business is going to come with a lot of trial and error. You're going to come with a lot of, falling on your face, but it's about, again, how do you get back up? How do we course correct that going forward? How do we make sure that we don't make that issue again, because it either had us waste money in areas that we didn't necessarily need to waste money in. Once you start to, gain more experience as you, do this, you'll start to really know where you can thin out various expenses so that you can focus on growing and fueling the business to be as big as you really want it to be.
Yeah. You guys should check out the UpFlip Academy. I feel like that solves a lot of the problems you guys went through.
Absolutely.
But let's go check out the setup. I think this is by far the cleanest setup I've seen. Obviously, people don't have to have this exact one. look at this, guys. There's not an iota of dust that's not supposed to be here. So kudos to this owner and this subcontractor.
Yeah, and so we've got compartment space for water tank. Got your vacuums, got your roofs up here, polishers, buffers, pads, all of your different materials, all your different soaps. He's got his extractor right there. Went the extra mile and got everything carpeted, which looks super clean. And then if you come to the back here, we got our generators, all die cast up here at the top, all of our hoses.
This is not everybody's setup, just to be clear, right?
No, it's not.
You don't have to start this way. This is probably on the pricey side.
Well, yeah, and you know, again, this is tying back to hiring people that have this stuff.
Yeah.
They're out there. You know, you just need to find them.
In those early days, how were you bringing in initial customers? How can we replicate the same success?
So since day one, it's always been solely Google Ads. I mean, that's been our bread and butter. But you know, in the beginning, our advertising budget was around $500 to $1,000. You know, that got us in probably 25 to 30 details, you know, a month. You know, and as you scale and as you expand on your team, you always want to make sure that you're incrementally increasing your ad spend to you know, meet the demand of, you know, your workers. You have more availability on the schedule now.
Right.
Like, let's fill it up. The way you do that is to be consistently shown more and more frequently and more often. That's what the ad spend is going to help do for you.
Have you tried other marketing spends that didn't return well or return zero? What were they?
Yeah, so we've dabbled in Facebook advertising before. We found that it works a little bit better for ceramic coating in terms of those types of ads. Google's always been the bread and butter for like the mobile detailing side. In terms of ceramic coatings, though, we're targeting directly from Meta Ads.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Where's your ad spend budget today, as it is?
I'd say collectively we're spending around $14,000 to $15,000 a month now. That's yielding into 250 to 300 details a month. If your average, you know, detail is $300 per detail, it sounds like a lot on paper, but it's bringing you back a lot more revenue, profit margin, things like that. Especially if you can be lean on the equipment side of things. It's not as much as you would think, because most of what we spend is going directly towards advertising to get the jobs in.
Yep. Will rates rise or fall? Will inflation be up or down next quarter? Will I break even this month? Ask 9 experts and 1 ball of plastic about the future of your business and you'll get 10 different answers. Wouldn't it be great if predicting and planning ahead were this easy? With NetSuite, it is. Over 80,000 businesses have future-proofed their business with NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud-based business management platform. Their unified suite of tools brings everything from accounting and financial management to inventory and HR into one convenient suite. With real-time insights and forecasting, you're always one step ahead, looking into the future and using data to make decisions with confidence. Less time spent looking back means more time to focus on the growth ahead. And getting a glimpse of the future is a rare opportunity, so if I needed this, NetSuite would be what I use. Speaking of opportunity, download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/upflip. The guide is free to you at netsuite.com/upflip, netsuite.com/upflip. All right, guys, Blitz time with Chad and Alex. Thanks for joining us, you guys. Thanks for submitting your questions. First one, what's the most unusual, surprising item you guys have ever found detailing a car?
I think for me it was the katana, the sword in the trunk.
Gotcha. What about you, Alex?
I think some dookie from a dog probably takes the...
Plenty of those, right? All right, what's your go-to music or podcast while working on a car?
I like rap, upbeat, keep me going.
Yeah, I would say rap, rock, big Blink-182 guy, you know, something like that.
All right, what's the most expensive car your team has ever detailed?
Probably the Aventador SVJ.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
100,000.
yeah.
Sweet, dude. If you could detail any car in the world, what would it be?
A Bugatti. You know, just get
nice.
get something, you know,
Like the Cybertrucks are nice and easy, you know, nice angles on it. Yeah.
Keeping it simple.
Keep it easy.
All right. Do you have any funny or interesting stories from detailing cars?
Well, I mean, I think it's just always a nice surprise whenever there's just like vomit or a bio situation happening.
Surprises.
Whenever, yeah, exactly. Whenever you weren't told.
Okay.
We get that more often than not.
Okay. What's the most challenging type of stain or mess you've had to deal with in a car?
We have oil spills that are
Oil?
Oil. We had a paint spill last week. That was a pain in the rear.
What's the one tool or product detailers cannot live without?
Oh, the pet hair tool, man.
Is that it?
Oh man,
I
yeah.
think the Tornador, like an air compressor.
Tornador
is really
too, yeah.
fun to get the pet hair out of the carpet and kind of shake up all the dirt. It's like a vortex, basically high pressure gun.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge game changer for saving time and also getting in all those areas that you typically can't reach with your fingers.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, with more than 300 reviews, almost all of them are 5-star. What's your secret? What's the one question that we all need to be asking to kind of see those results in our business as well?
Sure. Well, I think this ties back to sales, right? I mean, you want to ask for the business whenever you're trying to sell something to somebody. You also want to ask them for the review. Are they happy and satisfied with the job that was just done? Hey, if you could just take 5 seconds to leave us a 5-star review, just share us a tidbit about your experience, what you liked, even what you didn't like. Sometimes we get those too. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. Just ask for the business, ask for the review. The second is make it easy for them to leave the review.
Make it easy.
So every single time that we update the statuses for each of our bookings and jobs we have for that day, it instantly sends them a text message with a short URL link directly to our Google page. All they got to do is just log in, leave the review, they're all set. The final thing that we do, which I think attributes to the volume of reviews that we have, is incentivize your technicians to get them for you. Okay, because sometimes you as the business owner can call to, check in on those jobs. Hey, how was your experience? I just want to check in, make sure that you were satisfied. And you should do that. But I incentivize my guys. They take home $15 per 5-star Google review with a name drop of them in that review. I add it to their weekly paycheck. If you're doing 25 details a week, and you get 25 across $15 for 25,
now we're talking.
And we pay them out weekly, so we keep them happy.
How do you ensure quality control with all the jobs, with so many teams running across Austin? How do we make sure everything's done the way you want it?
So it really all starts with having a field management service software. So basically what this software has allowed us to do is not only give me a high-level overview of what's all going on in that day, I can see where everybody is within that specific job. We do that by status updates. So I can see if a technician is on the way to the location. I've actually got GPS tracking through this software to see where they are on the road. I can also see all of the communication that happens between the technician and the customer. Again, once they update the status to they're on the way, that's going to populate an automatic text message that goes to the customer saying, hey, your technician is 15 minutes out from your location, and then he'll call you whenever he arrives. I can see, if customer then left a tip. I mean, I have full circle view on everything.
Everything in one tool, one software. We won't go into what that is just quite yet.
Sure.
But that's really what it boils down to then, right?
Absolutely.
All right, well, he's wrapping up with that vehicle. Where are we going next? We're going to check out the...
Going to the shop.
The
the main headquarters.
Awesome. Let's do it. I'll follow you out.
Cool. Let's do it.
Excited to be here at your actual business hub location right here in Austin.
Yep.
What's your monthly overhead cost?
Yeah, so monthly overhead costs right now are sitting around 21,000. Main components there are going to be around 15K is around ad spend. The second's going to be obviously just like supplies, things like that, but we stay really lean.
Now the question that I have, and I think a lot of people would have the same, is like vehicles for your technicians to go out. Do you provide the vehicles?
No, it's a great question. So we don't. We tried to kind of design this business to be sort of like an Uber for car detailing. So all of my independent contractors, our detail technicians, they drive their own vehicles. I make sure to hire people that are already experienced. They have their own pressure washer, vacuum, extractor, generators. They have all of that.
Everything
I make sure
they need,
everything to get ready and to get started. Not only does that help with just ensuring that I'm vetting the right people, but it shows me that they're serious about the craft, and that they take this as, a career in a sense for themselves.
Can we check out one of the vehicles?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm guessing it's the Prius?
For a Prius, this is pretty impressive.
I was going to say, look at the utilization of the limited space in the Prius. I'm like astounded by it.
So, I mean, he's got, all of his spray bottles, he's got his hoses, generators. You can even see in the back, he's got a water tank. So, I mean, we can bring our own water. We don't even necessarily need to hook up to, the side of a house, anything like that. I mean, makes our lives a little bit easier if we can, but if not, it's not the end of the world.
So what made you want to start, besides the mobile detailing, what made you want to start specifically paint, restoration, protection, what you're doing here at this location?
Yeah. Well, again, the mobile detailing is going to be the bread and butter of the business, but we also saw that there was a lot of opportunity for paint correction services and ceramic coating. These are very, very highly sought out services, especially in a car that you love. Not only to just keep the paint preserved in a long-lasting, good condition, but also, again, there's a lot of cars out there that have minor swirls, blemishes, light scratches on their vehicle that, want to get those removed. We get a lot of phone calls a week, and so once we started to see the volume of calls coming through, we knew that there was an opportunity to really take advantage and really just diversify, our suite of services.
Right. You're big on SOPs. Talk to our audience about some of the biggest changes that you've made. And what did that do to the business?
A lot of what we have implemented in place right now was, born from just general trial and error. So, the first thing is that whenever somebody books car detail with us, they're instantly going to get a text message and an email confirming that appointment. We actually have what's called status updates to basically show the customer the entire time, where the technician is. And so once that technician arrives, the first thing that they're going to do, which is a crucial component, is to do a pre-walkthrough of the vehicle to ensure that the scope of what package that customer purchased aligns with the condition of the vehicle. Okay, so this is how we can get in front of customers who have a ton of pet hair inside their interior, but they didn't purchase the pet hair removal.
Because you don't know that until you show up.
You don't know
right?
until you show. That gives the technician an opportunity to review all of this with the customer, let them know, hey, there is actually an incurred fee for these types of add-ons. Is it cool if we can go ahead and tack that on here? Okay, great. Now the next very, very crucial component to the processes is the after walkthrough. Now this is going to save you a lot of issues in the long run. This is going to save you from the phone calls of, hey, like it looks like the technician missed cleaning my windshield, or one of these wheel wells still has dirt on them, So by doing the after walkthrough, you're going to do a very, very thorough review of the car once it's been completed to give the customer the opportunity to point out anything so that we can clean those areas on the fly. Once they get the thumbs up, we complete the job, and what's great is that the customer actually gets a tipping link that will directly give 100% of a tip to that technician, and it's all automated and it's all reflected in their check through whatever software you use. They usually can be capable of that. So.
All right, so you and Alex have shown us that running this business successfully while you have another full-time job is possible, really even from day one, you guys. So what is your advice to other entrepreneurs who are looking to do the same?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's totally possible. I think we're an example of that. We had to have the right systems and processes in place. You want to try to automate this as much as possible.
As quickly as possible?
As quickly as possible. I say the second thing is just get comfortable with working 12-hour days, because it's a grind. It doesn't end at 5 o'clock when, your main job ends, right? I mean, you got to put in a lot of that extra effort and time to perfect your business after hours.
So going back to what you said initially, and that is automating things as quickly as possible, what would be the first 2-3 things that you would tell our audience, if you can automate these things, do it ASAP?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first is getting a scheduling system. I mean, as soon as somebody books on our website, automatically it's going to be assigned to one of our detail technicians based on their availability on the schedule. So that's going to ensure, one, that we're not double dipping, and that a job gets assigned to them when they actually had that time off. Basically provides clear transparency for both sides. Both the technician, in their schedule, but also both the customer, showing accurate time windows that we have that we can come out to them, right?
For sure.
Yeah, so I would say the second is going to be communication. You always want to make sure that you're communicating with the customer, and we actually have integrations set up through our phone system to where, whenever a customer submits their information through a lead form, if they do not book, or maybe they were browsing but they submitted their information, we have a Zapier integration, that's what it's called, to send out a text message saying, hey, this is Chad, co-owner of Schwash. Saw you were looking on our website, but you didn't book a detail. Are there any questions that I can address for you? But I'd say between those two things, communication, making sure you have a great process in place for scheduling, that'll definitely open you up for success, when trying to manage a business with 10 plus employees.
Perfect. Guys, if you're enjoying this episode, do us a huge favor. More than 80% of you who are regular viewers on our channel are not yet subscribed. Can you believe that? So we're trying to bring that number down to 75%. Not just for the numbers, but to continue to bring on amazing guests like Chad and Alex. So do us a huge favor, hit that like and subscribe button, help us on the journey. So as far as the shop, you do 2 services, paint protection, ceramic coating. What does revenue look like, and then what are the margins for those 2 services?
Yeah, so I'd say profit margins on the ceramic coatings and the paint corrections sitting somewhere around 50%. In terms of monthly revenue for those specific services, we're sitting around 25K right now.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Between paint protection and ceramic, that 25, how's that split?
I'd say 10,000 is going to be from the paint correction, 15 from the ceramic coating.
So obviously you guys are trying to scale this side of the business, right?
Yes.
Right now it's about 15% of your total business.
Correct.
What are some of the challenges when you want to scale that? Is it staff? Is it space?
There's more of a sell with ceramic coating because this is a higher ticketed item. This is if they
What are
start
we talking about?
I mean, I'd say on average they're anywhere from $900 to $1,300. That's just for the ceramic, whether you want a 3, 6, 8-year ceramic, and then every single step of paint correction is an additional $200 on top of that.
So the two are intertwined as far as the service.
Yes. In a lot of cases they are. I mean, unless you have a brand new car that you just bought, we have those cases a lot too, and then they typically will only need a ceramic coat. But if you've had your vehicle for 3, 5, 6 years, you're just now wanting to jump on and get this done, typically a paint correction is required at least on a 1-step level. So again, just going back to the sell, typically with this, since they are more expensive, customer wants to get on the phone with you, not only to learn your credibility and ensure that you're going to be the right, company that they want to partner with, but they typically have a lot of questions about, what type of ceramic do you use? What are the different yearly options? What's the process look like? So you typically have to get a little bit more thorough, break all that stuff down for them to not only ensure that they're comfortable, but in order to get them over to the edge.
All right, so you're mainly working with subcontractors. How many do you have as of today?
Yeah, so total we have 13. I've got 10 here in Austin. I've got 3 in Dallas.
Gotcha. So how do you find them? What is some advice that you want to give us as far as finding the best talent, qualities you look for, etc.?
I think first and foremost, we find all of our employees off Indeed.com. That's the world's #1 job site. It's easy to get in front of a lot of candidates. There's a few things that we look for. One, you already need to have experience. The reason for that is just because you won't have to spend that time having to train somebody, how to clean a car, how to detail. I look for candidates that already have, X amount of years of experience. Once I can identify that, they check that box off, from there, I ask them a requirement of a minimum of 2 years of ceramic coating experience. Lastly, you have to have a reliable means of transportation. I mentioned earlier, they're all driving their own cars. Last but not least, this also helps immensely with overhead costs and really minimizing those as much as possible. Hire people with their own equipment. So I require all of my, detail technicians to have their own pressure washer, generator, extractor, vacuum, and I take care of all the car wash supplies for them. So that will come out of my pocket. I'll make sure that for every job that they do, they will have enough supplies to be successful on those jobs. They just come back to the shop when they're empty, come refill, and then we're all set.
Interesting. So where are these guys and gals coming from? If they have to have a vehicle and the full setup to basically do the job, you just give them the supplies. What's their story? Just in a quick nutshell. Are they probably working somewhere else and they want to step up, or a change of scenery?
Yeah,
What's been the experience so far?
Yeah, it's a great question. So a lot of my detail technicians, they have their own personal clients already, that they detail around the community. Some of them may be looking for just more work.
The side gig thing they're doing.
Exactly. They're looking for more work to fill up their days. They're not getting the volume that they, wish that they were seeing in terms of jobs, and I get that, right? So that's where we come in, and we can help provide them more work to keep them busy throughout the work week.
Let's take a quick pause from Chad and Alex's journey and talk about yours. Do you currently have a business idea you're looking to start? Do you own a business you're looking to scale? Are you stuck trying to find that perfect idea to start with? If you've answered yes to any of the above, I've got phenomenal news for you guys. At this point in time, you can join the UpFlip Academy completely free. No strings attached, no credit cards needed. I'm talking about access to blueprints from active business owners, experts who will give you answers to things you don't find on Google, and a community of like-minded individuals who have your back for a whopping $0. Highly recommend you click the link in the description below and claim your free access to the UpFlip Academy while you can. All right, you guys have seen enough of their HQ. Let's go check out their major supplier here in Austin. Let's go. All right, where are we, and how did you guys end up working with this particular supplier?
Yeah, so this is Centex Detail Supply. This is actually one of our wholesale distributors that we go through for all of our chemicals, our detail brushes, buff pads, microfiber towels, basically anything that we need. We can come here, they're always open, and they always are in stock, which is a beautiful thing.
Show me the repeat products, at least on this shelf. I want to see which ones you buy most of and kind of what you go through a lot.
Yeah, so, we're constantly going through all-purpose cleaner. You're definitely going to want an all-purpose for...
Just for anything?
Yeah, for essentially anything. This is where we get our bug goo. This removes all of the
you gotta have
insect
bug goo.
debris. That's very, very potent stuff right there that'll get, within a wipe. Heavy-duty interior cleaner right here on the far right corner. That's going to be a necessary thing that we always want to make sure that we have. And then there's wash soap, Blue Power Vehicle wash soap for the exterior of the vehicle. That's also going to be a fundamental solution that we constantly are replenishing here.
All right, so partnerships can be a good thing for a business. It could be a really bad thing for the business. Obviously, you and Alex make it work very well. What's the secret to how you guys mitigate some disagreements, difference in perspective, etc.?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it really just starts with just hearing where the other person's coming from. So, we just both just take the opportunity to kind of hear each other out, understand, why we're, coming to those conclusions. And ultimately, we've always found a way to come to agreement with issues that do come up day to day or, month to month in business. And as long as there's just a clear, concise, communication two-way between all of those different hardships and experiences that you are going to experience, makes things a lot smoother in the long run.
What are some of the biggest mistakes you made when you first started out? What can you think of?
I would say say like investing too much money into the mobile and web development part of the business.
How much did that cost you guys?
You know, we bootstrapped all of that with a lot of our sales bonuses from our corporate job, and I think it ended at around 40 grand.
Ouch.
Because we thought that we had to reinvent everything from the ground up, including, you know, a robust scheduling software, you know, to do all of this for us. We didn't realize that there was all that already out there, you know, for a third of the price. It had already been built, right? So if we could go back, we would totally cut that, save the money, and allocate it in other areas to, you know, thrive the business and, you know, other, areas.
Did you ever think that you and Alex would be where you are today? I know it's only 9 months after you pivoted, but you've really seen a lot of great growth, and it's really just the beginning of it. So does it come as a surprise, or you kind of had that vision and you're like, man, on to the next milestone?
I was always confident that we were going to get to this point. You need to be, you know, just positive about the vision and the goals you have set up and, you know, in front of you, you know, and then whenever you accomplish them, make the next goal harder. You know, I think the great, you know, partnership that I have with Alex is that we both just, again, complement our strengths to our weaknesses very, very well. And I think that really attributes to why this worked out. We don't really get into a lot of disagreements. We don't get into a lot of arguments. We're very, very constructive about any decision that we make. We try to look at, you know, what could happen from making this decision, you know, what positive could happen from making this decision. So, you know, we look at all outliers with any decision that we make. And by, you know, doing that full circle with everything, I mean, it's made everything just that much smoother of a ride.
What's your advice to those who find themselves in very similar shoes as you were before you got started, right? You've got the 9 to 5 or a corporate job. You have this drive to start something on the side. Without getting into too many details, like where would you come in as far as advice? Like do this today or do this in the next week or two?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're aspiring to be, you know, an entrepreneur, you want to start your own business, like get a partner that aligns with you and wants to do the same thing, is motivated to be their own boss.
Easier to do it together when you're aligned, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't imagine doing it by myself, and I commend anybody, you know, that I know is out there doing it. I mean, it's a real thing that I've seen, but it just really makes it that much better to, you know, have somebody focus on what they're best at, like the marketing and the advertising, and, you know, it really does help take a lot of weight off your shoulders if you can just sort of balance all of those, you know, things with another person. And I really do think that's why we were able to get this to where it is that fast.
Right. How much of your business is B2B versus B2C, and what are you focusing on more and why?
Yeah, I would say 90% of our business is going to be business to consumer. I'd say the other 10% can be left for business to business. You know, here's the thing that I've learned with, you know, working with car dealerships. You know, what's great about car dealerships is they have volume. The bad thing about it, at least in my experience, is that they're not willing to pay you for, I guess, the type of work that goes into, you know, detailing 30 cars.
Well, you get the volume as a trade-off.
Yeah, like, and I'll give you an example, a story of, you know, an experience we had probably 6 months ago. We walk into this dealership, they're interested, they're looking to partner with a mobile detailing company. They saw our reviews, they wanted to have a conversation. We walk in there, professional, looking to, you know, try to see if we can connect, get a business deal here. They only want to charge us 50 cents a car. And they said that to us with a straight face.
No joke.
Do you think that's going to work for us? Probably not.
That's
so
crazy.
And again, if you can get hooked up with a recurring partnership, and it can be done,
make the numbers
like,
work,
take it.
right?
Oh yeah, take it. I mean, it's recurring revenue, right? We've just found that, you know, with our email marketing, with consumer bookings that we get just from the individual, it's greatly surpassed day by day more than what the dealership has been able to provide for us. And what's great, you know, with our retargeting through email marketing is we get them to come back.
Yeah.
You know, and that right there over the long run also, you know, can provide a lot of profit for the business.
And for a market in Austin, I'm guessing you're not even beginning to tap into all the potential as far as the B2C business.
No, there's definitely a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
We're not finished yet here. I think we've only untapped you know, a large chunk of the community, but there's still a lot left to go. So.
Yeah. You've got a great organic social media following. What's your strategy there, Chad? What are you guys doing to continue to grow that? What's your advice to those looking to build specifically organically as well?
Sure. Yeah. So there's a few components. I mean, one is going to be just optimizing your SEO. So like how high are you ranking? Are you stack ranking with other competitors in the space that are bidding for the same real estate on Google as you would also like, right?
Right.
That's how, if you're seen first, they're going to click on you first. And that's kind of just how the rule of thumb has always been. So SEO is going to be critical in order to ensuring that you can accomplish that. The second is going to be just post content. Post content through your Facebook page, your Facebook business page, your Instagram. Get with the community and do giveaways. There was one year we did ACL tickets. That's a huge festival
Austin
here.
thing.
It's kind of like our Coachella, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, we did a free giveaway of, you know, 2 wristbands for a 3-day, you know, weekend at the festival.
So content and SEO. Now, if I don't know how to do SEO and make sure that I'm where I want to be, right, to stand out, Where do I go for that? Did you do that? Did Alex do that? Did you hire somebody out?
All of our Google advertising, so all PPC related marketing and SEO, we go directly through a pay-per-click ad agency that manages all of that for us.
I see. So you don't do anything.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, they're
They
the
seem
experts.
to be expensive though.
You know, I mean, typically,
Or-
like the one that we partner with, their retainer fee's $500 a month. They will manage
Gotcha.
and ensure everything's remaining optimized, doing what it needs to do, producing business, making sure that you're not paying too much of an inflated cost per click on a campaign when you shouldn't be. So they're the experts to help us, you know, kind of monitor that and measure the success. And again, it's complex to learn. With Google Ads, with PPC, you can lose money and waste money very, very quickly if you don't know what you're doing. So for us, we just saw the value in partnering with a third party that specializes in this. And actually ours that we partner with specializes in it for mobile car detailing. So that's even like an added bonus, right?
Awesome.
So that makes it even better.
Yep. How would you describe your leadership style, and what leadership qualities do you think are most important for success?
First and foremost, like we wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for our detail technicians, you know, and I think a big reason why we have gotten where we are today is because we're open to constructive feedback on really any area of the business, any process, because without them, without getting that real-time knowledge from people that are actually out there in the field, that really helps us just in the long run, just stay as productive as possible with minimal error or issues.
How often, Chad, do you go out just at this point in time to the actual job site and just check it out and see the process? Say what's up to, you know, John or whoever's working
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, weekly. So I mean, I'll stop by and, you know,
Part of the
especially
routine.
drop off water. You know,
Yeah.
come and check in, just see how things are going. What can I get for you? You know, sometimes I'll bring them out some lunch. But yeah, I mean, I make check-ins to make sure that they're good, making sure they're keeping hydrated. You know,
Yeah.
first and foremost, we bought them all hats. You know, some ventilated T-shirts, cooling, you know, neck pads. I mean, we got to make sure that
Taking care of
they're
your folks.
safe here, right? Because I mean, it's, as you can see, it's no joke. So yeah.
All right, let's pivot and talk about what I think is a very important question, and our audience would be excited to hear the answers. The 3 things that most entrepreneurs make mistakes in that prevent them from success overall.
I mean, starting with number 1, it's going to be the advertising piece. It's very frustrating when you do not have that figured out because, again, it's very easy to
Burn cash.
spend a lot of money with Google and
Yeah.
not see any returns. So that's going to be the first one. The second's going to be customer service for sure. You know, having communication with the customer to let them know when people are going to be arriving, you know, when they're going to be finishing, addressing any concerns they might have, ensuring that they're satisfied with the quality of the service once we have conducted the detail on the car. And then hiring the right team is going to be essential to your success. So making sure that you're vetting everyone that you're hiring, you make sure that they have the experience that they claim that they have. You know, and what's great is that we've really cultivated an awesome culture here at Schwash. So, you know, if one of our technicians doesn't know, you know, how to do something, like we have a very interactive group chat with all the technicians to where, you know, hey, what's the best practice for, you know, getting this one, you know, stain out of the car, you know, and everybody collaborates and works together for the greater good. And that's also just a beautiful thing to see.
If you're willing to share, we'd love to know what you guys are paying yourself as entrepreneurs, and kind of to piggyback on that, what's your advice to entrepreneurs for cash flow management?
So with our business, we're an S-Corp business. We recently went from LLC to S-Corp for some various tax advantages. We are in a partnership. Thank you. It's 50-50 across the board. I'd say, you know, for us, we monthly take-home pay, it's anywhere from about, you know, 6 to 8K each, you know, per month. And then what's great about, you know, those tax advantages is that, you know, you can actually do what's called partner distributions aside from, you know, your
salary.
that are non-taxable, you know. So there's a lot of things that you can do to obviously get, you know, more weekly take home, and as, you know, things start to scale, obviously the take home is going to increase as well.
That's awesome. Well, you guys definitely deserve it.
Thank you.
Been hustling nonstop.
Yeah.
Can you share with us a story from the start of the business to where we are now, when things didn't go as planned, right? It's pretty typical for us entrepreneurs. We're
for
going to
sure.
face some of that stuff.
Yeah.
So what was the lesson? What was the experience?
Man, I think I'll just take it right back to the beginning. So whenever Schwash was born, ideally, you know, what we were trying to do at the time was we were trying to offer a mobile car wash company specifically for local apartment complexes and office spaces.
Sounds like an awesome
So
idea.
on paper, it sounds like a great idea, right? But what we found out was, you know, we started to get these contracts with these different apartment complexes, and we'd be sitting out there all day with our A-frame signs, you know, hey, we're here, Schwash is here, so scan this QR code to book a car wash with us. We were only selling car washes that were anywhere from like 35 to 60 bucks, right? And so the first thing we saw was volume. We'd be sitting out there all day, 8 hours, you know, this hot at an apartment complex, and we'd only get like 3 car washes that got booked for a total of like $100. So not only do I have my my workers out there, my technicians out all day, basically wasted the day. How are you going to retain employees with that type of model? It's going to be hard, right? And then the second was, we were having a lot of people that were buying $35 car washes with, you know, 4-door huge lifted trucks that had just got done mudding. And at the time, we weren't using pressure washers. We were using spray tanks. So, you know, if you're trying to get caked off mud off a rim, a wheel that's this big,
No fun.
it's not going to be that fun, right? So, you know, I think once we identified all of those bottlenecks, you know, with just that specific type of model, we knew there was a lot to course correct. Car washing and detailing, it's really hard for some customers to distinguish the differences in what they're getting, right? And so that's where I was like, we just need to cut out car washing, you know, out of the entire picture, because everybody knows what they're getting with a detail, right? And it's going to be perfect. That's what we're striving for, right? And so, yeah.
Can you give our audience a book recommendation by Alex and then by Chad? What do you
I
think?
would say, I know Alex's is going to be The Lean Startup. Excellent book
check
for
that out.
anybody that's aspiring to be, you know, an entrepreneur, a business owner. That's a great one to kind of, you know, teach you the fundamentals of what that day-to-day looks like. My personal favorite is going to be The E-Myth.
Oh, yeah.
The E-Myth is, you know, essentially highlighting why small businesses a lot of times don't work and what you can do to course correct and solve them. The main takeaway is, in order to scale, you need to fuel your business through, you know, online advertisement as a channel in a sense, but you also need to be hiring a lot more people to be able to meet and align with that demand. I think that was the biggest takeaway that I took from that.
Awesome.
I've been putting that into practice, and I'm starting to kind of see the fruits of that labor.
That's so cool, because that book is pretty old, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting there.
And it's still relevant
but it's
today.
still relevant today. Like every entrepreneur we ask about book recommendation, that one's the most common one that comes up. So
Absolutely.
if you haven't read it already, probably should do it today. All right, if you could go back in time, give yourself one piece of advice before you started Swash, what would that advice be?
I would say first and foremost, just trust the process. It's not going to be easy. It's not just an up and to the right type of experience. I mean, you're going backwards, you're going this way, you're going back 10 steps to go back up 20. Like, I mean, it's not a cakewalk. You got to have resilience. You know, you need to just, again, trust the process and just trust that, you know, what you're doing now, you know, as long as you have the mindset of, you know, building this thing out to where you want it, just continue to keep that. Don't be afraid of failing, right? Because we learn a lot from failing, and you should look at it as, you know, something you welcome to happen, because that's going to ensure that you course correct all of those issues and experiences going forward.
And the vision got you through the tough times, or like what got you through and you're like, you know what? Yeah, I just burned through $10,000 of cash, saw no revenue from it.
Yeah,
it was, I keep going. Why?
100% the vision.
What's your why?
You know, I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be easy trying to build something that was going to be across, you know, every state in the nation. You know, and as long as I just kind of always tied everything back to like, this is going to be my end goal, I'm going to accomplish this. You know, I mean, you can speak it into existence. You know, and I think that so far the trajectory that we're on, we're starting to really, you know, see that be reflected. So
awesome. If detailing looks like more and more of a lucrative business you want to get a piece of, then you cannot miss episode 125. Watch as Kevin reveals how he started his detailing business with just $500. Take a second to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.